Welcome back to News Talk. Time now for our Friday Focus on You, the world of work. Our theme this go-round, workplace guru Mary Abijay is here. She's founder and president of the Career Stone Group. Always good to have you.
Hey, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
This is our last time together in 2015.
But you'll be here, I hope. I hope next month. Part of Mary's a great part of our Friday Focus on You rotation. I always love talking about workplace issues with you. So good to see you. Good to have you back. We want to talk this time about learning, developing the ability to say no at work.
That's right.
This runs counter, I think, to a lot of what we're used to hearing and talking about when it comes to the work world, because there's this notion of the yes man, the guy, the employee who's trying to please the boss by saying yes as often as they can. You think the ability to say no strategically is important.
It's not only important, it's a life-saving ability. Look, we are all brought up with the idea that we need to say yes to everybody. We're brought up the idea that coming from a place of no is just wrong, that if you say no, opportunities won't come your way. If you say no, people will be mad at you. If you say no, you won't succeed. Now, I'm not saying that we should come from a place of no consistently. What I am saying is to get control of your life and get control of your career, you need to learn when and how to say no.
What's the prototypical moment where no is the right answer?
Well, that's a great question. So I think there's 5 things you want to look at in order to know when you need to say no, and then we can talk about how to say no. So the first thing I would say to you is, number 1, make a list. Just take 1 week and make a list of how many times you said yes to requests and how many times you said no. At the end of that week, you'll probably be shocked at how few times you said no. Then I want you to go back to that list and look at those yeses and which ones did you really want to say no to that you didn't? Which ones should you have said no to and which ones could you have said no to? So that's number 1. Make a list of what you're saying yes and no to. Number 2, be really clear about how you are parceling out your time. Because if you're saying yes to too many things, your time is crunched, and time is the most valuable commodity. 3, understand your priorities, and I mean this every day, every week, every month, every year. Get crystal clear on both your meta priorities and your daily priorities. If you are saying yes to things that are not within your priorities, think about the time that's being crunched from your priorities. The 4th thing is know your limitations. We all have limited energy, we have limited health, we have limited time. Where are you being pushed beyond your limitations? Because once you get beyond your limitations, you're not going to be effective. And the 5th thing I want you to do to figure out when you can say no and where you should say no is to delegate. Look at that list of yeses and really think, you know what, which one of those could I really have had someone else do? Which one could someone else have done within my circle of control of influence just as well or even better than I am? And am I saying yes to this because I'm a control freak, or am I saying yes because I don't know how to say no?
People who are new in their office or people who aren't sure where they stand in the boss's eye, or people who think the boss doesn't like them, none of those people are going to find it to be easy to say no. It's going to be a challenge. It's
going to be a challenge. This is how you have to know when to do it. Okay, so if you're thinking like, these are things I have to say no to, then it's how you're going to do it. And this is where the challenge comes in. So in the workplace, you're going to have to say no to your boss, to colleagues, and to clients, right? So let's talk about the boss first. Well, first of all, before we talk about any of them, it's all in how you say it, right? You can say no, but you have to be kind, direct, brief. Your body language has to be neutral. Like if your boss says, can you take on this Penske project? If you say, I can't, I've got so much to do, like, no boss wants to hear that. Instead, what you do is you say to your boss, that looks like a great project, I'd love to help. Here's what else is on my plate right now. Can you help me prioritize or show me where this fits in? Like, get the boss's help. That's how you say no. It's your boss's responsibility to understand your priorities.
Then talk about the coworkers and clients.
Okay, so coworkers. So when a coworker comes to you, and this is a tricky one too, because you want to be seen as someone collaborative. When a coworker asks you for something that you can't do, you have to say, you know, I'd love to help you. I really would. I'm really sorry. I'm under XY deadline right now. Maybe so-and-so can help you. Or I'm under XYZ deadline. I could maybe help you with this little piece. You always say you're sorry. You always help them find a solution, and you're brief and direct. And you better really be telling the truth, because if you're just the kind of person saying no because you're lazy and don't want to help your coworkers, they'll know that. So be honest. Same with the client. And I have a hard time saying no to clients. This
Yeah.
is why I work 7 days a week. So this is a do as I say, not as I do. Well, you want to say to the client the same way. You want to say, you know what, I am so honored that you want me to work on this, or thank you so much, or this looks like a great opportunity. Always start with the positive. And then say, at this time, I just don't have the bandwidth. And I'm afraid if I said yes, I'd be doing you a disservice. I hope that you come back to me again for another project. If it's a current project, I would say, God, that's awesome. That's a great idea. We should do it. What part of the other project should we let go of, or let's negotiate a time frame? So I literally just talked when we have a job the other day. I was just like, oh my God, I want to do this, but honestly, I don't have the time.
So much of this need to say no flows, I suspect, from the dissolution of the boundaries that our parents and grandparents had when it came to work life and private life.
That's right.
It's commonplace now for people to work off hours.
That's
because
right.
of the device. It makes it so easy, and some of us are so addicted to the email, to checking our email, that we find ourselves working morning, noon, and night. That's where, you know, you could be an employee 20 hours a day if you're stupid enough not to draw boundaries, and you end up saying yes to everything because, sure, what the heck, I'm already working.
Why
all
not?
the time.
And let's also be clear about why many of us say yes. We say yes also because it feeds our sense of self-worth. It feeds our sense of self-importance. We've also been conditioned to say yes throughout our entire life. This is especially hard for women, right, because we've been conditioned to be nurturing and supportive. And we also say yes out of fear of saying no. So I think as you go to set your boundaries and learn to say no, get really clear with yourself, like your emotional, psychological state. What is your driving need to say yes? Is it really for opportunity, or is it just out of fear? If it's out of fear, I'd take a look at that.
Are there other areas where saying no is the right answer?
Yeah, to your friends and family all the time. And these are the harder ones. Like and this is part of your work life too, because you only have so much time. So we're afraid to say no to our friends because we think they'll think we're mean or lazy or don't love them. And we're afraid if we say no, they won't invite us again. But the truth is, most people, if you say no to them, forget about it in 30 seconds. They've totally moved on. So I think we need to do that. Family's a little harder, especially this time of year, and I think family pushes you a little bit harder, and I think we feel a little bit more guilty. And because your family usually knows where all the buttons are on you because they've installed them, they'll push those buttons to get what they need. And so again, with family and friends, you have to be very firm, kind, brief. The more explanation you give, the lesser your case, and direct.
When you were talking about how to say no to a coworker, what I heard was, or as a side issue, is I'm going to say no because I worry that I won't, that if this thing succeeds, if this project is a hit, the success, that I won't get the credit for my piece. So I think somewhere in
that's a really good
no
point.
is a possible yes for the negotiation that might ensue.
Absolutely.
You know, not only do we need you on the Smith account, but I would be happy to make sure the bosses know that you were a big role, because then yes
so you
seems
come
more
from
doable.
a place of yes, that's right. But you're exactly right. That's the negotiation piece, and that's a really important thing when you're working with your colleagues, is to see what you can say yes to, negotiate what it's going to look like, and see what you come out together collaboratively.
No can be like the fear of insubordination.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a big one.
That's a big one. And that's how you have to say, you know, you can't just say no to your boss without any explanation. You have to say no to your boss in a way where I can say yes to this, but you've got to help me figure this out. I mean, you just can't come from a place of no and say no. Like if my employees just said, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that, I'd be furious, right? But if they said no, Mary, or they said, Mary, I'd love to do that, and this is what else I'm trying to do, that's different.
Mary Abijay, founder, president of the Career Stone Group. She's part of our Friday Focus on You rotation. Always good having you here, and happy holidays. I do hope we see you next month, next year.
Happy holidays.
We're back with the program note after this.